Hey guys, Button25 here, and today I'll be watching Soyuz. Try to adjust the webcam a bit. Oh, just in time! Just in time! Oh, come on, stop lagging.
Good day from the
What the
International Space Station Flight Control Room at the Johnson.
See what I mean? Just put it down to really bad quality.
At this hour, where preparations are well underway for the return to Earth of 3 of the 6 crew members who have occupied the International Space Station for the past 5.5 months.
Good job, Max.
165 days ago for the past 5.5 months. 165 days ago, the 3 crew members who will be returning to Earth, Max Sarayev, a Russian Air Force colonel, and the cosmonaut who has been the commander of the Expedition 41 increment aboard the International Space Station, Reed Wiseman, a Navy commander and test pilot, NASA flight engineer, and Alexander Gerst of the European Space Agency, a German volcanologist, left the planet in their Soyuz TMA-13M spacecraft from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan exactly 165 days ago to be preparing for a return to Earth and a parachute-assisted landing on the frozen northern steppe of Kazakhstan. That landing is scheduled at 9:58 p.m. Central Time this evening, which will be 9:58 a.m. Kazakhstan time on Monday morning, about 1 hour and 19 minutes after sunrise. We'll talk more about all of the entry and landing preparations that have been ongoing in just a moment or two.
I'll be watching that as well.
Landing today of Sarayev, Wiseman, and Gerst again will wrap up 165 days in space and 165 days aboard the International Space Station for that trio. By the time they touch down on the steppe of Kazakhstan, they will have completed 2,640 orbits of the Earth. They will have traveled 70,008,168 miles, and they will have traveled in their duration time in space for Max Sarayev as he completes his second long-duration mission aboard the International Space Station.
Good job,
he
Max.
will have wrapped up 334 days in space on his 2 flights. For Wiseman and Gerst, 165 days in space on their first flight. It has been an eventful 5.5 months on orbit for this trio, as Wiseman has conducted 2 spacewalks totaling almost 13 hours in duration. Alexander Gerst, who accompanied Wiseman on the first of those 2 spacewalks, completed the first spacewalk of his career, 6 hours and 13 minutes. Max Sarayev also conducted 1 spacewalk during this increment of 3 hours and 38 minutes in duration, the second spacewalk of his career. The crew performed a record amount of scientific research and reinstated a regular U.S. segment spacewalk capability during their time on orbit. Also, this crew greeted a variety of visiting vehicles that have been contributing to the resupply of the International Space Station, including 2 Russian Progress cargo ships, the final European Space Agency automated transfer vehicle, the Georges Lemaitre, that remains docked to the International Space Station, and 2 U.S. commercial resupply vehicles, the SpaceX Dragon resupply ship and the Orbital Sciences Cygnus resupply ship. So again, a very eventful 5.5 months in orbit for this trio. At this hour, the crew has been working inside the Soyuz spacecraft to configure communications loops as they will be talking to the Russian flight control team at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov. You're looking at a live view of that flight control room from a camera on the balcony overlooking the cavernous flight control room. They will be in charge of all of the Soyuz operations throughout the course of today's activities. Here in the Johnson Space Center International Space Station Flight Control Room, the Orbit 3 team is on console. They'll be overseeing work to prepare for the undocking of the returning crew members, as well as other activities on board the International Space Station. This team, throughout the course of the afternoon and evening, is led by Flight Director Dina Cantella. She's on the right side of your screen, joined on her right by spacecraft communicator Leslie Ringo. She will be talking to the crew when required throughout the course of the day's events.
So Samakutyayev.
Once the Soyuz TMA-13M spacecraft undocks from the Rassvet module on the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station, it is docked to the Zarya module on the Earth-facing side. Once that undocking takes place at 6:31 p.m. Central Time, which is about 3 hours and 43 minutes from now, Expedition 42 will formally begin. Expedition 42 will be commanded by Barry Wilmore, Butch Wilmore, the Navy captain, the NASA crew member who has been on board since late September now, almost 2 months, in the role of flight engineer. Yesterday he assumed command of the International Space Station. We'll be taking a look at that ceremony in a moment. Wilmore joined by Alexander Samakutyayev, the Russian flight engineer, and Elena Serova, the other Russian cosmonaut from the Russian Federal Space Agency. That trio will remain on board board the International Space Station until the launch 2 weeks from now, almost exactly 2 weeks from now, of Terry Virts, NASA astronaut, Anton Shkaplerov, Russian flight engineer and the commander of the next Soyuz vehicle to arrive at the International Space Station, and European Space Agency flight engineer Samantha Cristoforetti, who are in their final preparations at the Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center in Star City, Russia. They will be departing for their launch site at the Baikonur Cosmodrome on Tuesday for 2 weeks of final pre-launch training.
Good. That's nice. In a second, guys, I'll just check when this will be over.
Just 24 hours ago, the 6 crew members had an opportunity to conduct what now has been the traditional change of command ceremony. They gathered inside the Japanese Kibo module for that activity, in which Max Sarayev formally handed over the reins of the International Space Station to Butch Wilmore. There were opening remarks from Reed Wiseman and Alexander Gerst. So for your viewing enjoyment, let's take a look at yesterday's change of command ceremony.
Okay, welcome everybody to the Expedition 41-42 change of command. This is Reed Wiseman. I'm joined with Alex Gerst and Max Sarayev, and the 3 of us are heading out tomorrow. So we just wanted to kick it off by saying a few words. And for me personally, this is the most unique ship with the most amazing crew and the most incredible ground support that I've ever worked with. And it's been an honor and a privilege to spend 165 days up here. And with that said, I'm looking forward to heading home tomorrow with these 2. And I'll hand it over to my German colleague, Dr. Alex Gerst.
Yeah, they say this is the most complex machine that humanity has ever built. Now, even after half a year on board, it is impossible for me to fathom how complex it is to actually operate this machine. Now, what I did see and what I'm sure of is that this is the finest example of teamwork that I've ever seen in my life. And with that, well, I would like to say thanks to all the ground support teams and well, all those people who dedicated all those hours of work to us. And with this, I would like to hand over to my commander, Maxim Viktorovich Sarayev, for the change of command.
Okay, and like usual, these 2 guys, they just stolen all my words I wanted to say, and you know what, it's really difficult to add something, but really it was honor for me, you know, working with these guys, and great participation from the ground team, and thank you very much for that. And let's do it, the main event of this, and let me introduce a new commander of International Space Station, Captain Wilmer Butch.
Hey, I want to congratulate you on a great tenure as commander of this engineering marvel. It's nicely done, Max.
I love the way Max
team
talks.
here, thanks, guys. It's been a wonderful 2 months. We're going to miss you guys when you leave tomorrow. And for the team on Earth, it's an amazing, as Alex said, it's an amazing accomplishments day in and day out, things that takes place here, and it doesn't happen, you know. Commander of International Space Station, I'm truly honored with the opportunity and humbled by the opportunity to have this title, and it's special for me and my family.